Hi, I'm Peter Tragos, host of the Lawyer You Know podcast and YouTube channel. The saying goes, everyone hates lawyers until you need one. Well, I'm here when you need one to answer your questions and give you insight that you didn't know you needed. Along with my partners, Pete Sardis, the professor, who has a finance and business background, and George Tragos, my dad, and the consigliere, a criminal defense giant, we can answer any questions you have. What's up, everybody? We are all over the place here, right? We are all over the place. We thought we'd start at 10:05. StreamYard wouldn't let us post it then, so we thought it was 10:15, but then we saw you can start early. So we're going to start early now. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We are going to be discussing part 2 and reacting live to part 2 of Amber Heard's interview. We are outside. Conference/vacation mode has started, even though I haven't left my house yet. I am leaving after this video to head over to Palm Beach for a conference. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you for everybody that's coming over from the last video talking about the documents that Amber filed, dealing with appeals and things like that. So you haven't checked out that video. If you want to know what all those documents are about that Amber Heard's team filed with the court, check out our most recent video where I'm sitting in the same exact spot wearing the same exact stuff because I just finished it. I have not seen this interview at all, once again, so I will be reacting live with you. It is not a 2-minute clip. It is a 10-minute clip, so it's a little bit longer. We're going to get a little bit more. I will mute my mic because the birds chirping, as beautiful as they are, you guys probably want to hear what is happening in this video, so we are going to check it out. Without further ado, let's get to the video. Make sure you guys let me know your questions. I will answer them after the video, as many as I can. It's a little bit longer than I thought. Yes, Kelly, a double dose of Tragos Law today. And speaking of that, Tragos Law is our handle on Instagram and Twitter. Check us out on there. Follow us on there. And subscribe to our page if you haven't already, because 50% of you that watch these videos haven't subscribed yet. So join the party. Hit the reminder bell, because you never know when you're going to get 2 lives back-to-back from our channel. A lot of it's not planned. It's done when I have time, because YouTube is not my job. I do it for fun, and I enjoy doing it and talking to you guys about this stuff. But that also means that it's not always scheduled. It's kind of random. It's not the same time, which I hear is not the best way to run a YouTube channel, but it's what we got, and it's what we do. So that's why we're here. We are going to talk about it today, but let's get to the video. Let's react to it, and let's see what Amber has to say. You know, you really never know what Amber Heard is going to say. I mean, I think that's the only predictable part of this, is that it's going to be unpredictable. Here we go.
It's been about more than a week since the verdict. As you sit here with me now, has it sunk in? How could it? Surreal and difficult, in part, yes. This has been a long time coming. Do you stand by
What's been
your
a long
testimony and your accusations against Johnny Depp about abuse?
Of course.
She
to my
has to.
dying day, will stand by every word of my testimony.
The real life.
She has to stand by her testimony, or it becomes perjury, as a lot of you were talking about. And you would be right at that point. You would be right. They should prosecute her for perjury. If she says now, I take it all back, what I said wasn't true. I was trying to win a court case. I was trying to win a divorce case. You know, absolutely. If they don't immediately arrest her if she does that, I will stop even talking about perjury. But she's not going to say that. She can't say that.
Life drama of the defamation case between Amber Heard and her ex-husband Johnny Depp captivated millions of people around the world.
Amber Heard just got exposed.
Johnny, you hit me.
This is so cringe.
With clips spreading across social media
I guess this is
like
why it's 10 minutes.
wildfire.
I think
More than just her
vast
talking.
majority of this trial was played out on social media. I think that this trial is an example of that gone haywire, gone amok. And the jury is not immune to that.
You think the jury saw it?
How could they not? I think even the most well-intentioned juror, it would have been impossible to avoid this.
All right. So first problem I've got with it, you can't say things like it ran amok, social media, it was impossible, because the most well-intentioned juror and a perfect juror could have avoided it. Absolutely. They could have avoided it. Now, I think I don't know. She could say things like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened, because that's the truth. We're really not sure. And so she's starting to take lines from Elaine. Okay. I actually thought she did better than Elaine in the first 2 minutes, but we're already going off the rails here.
People online and crowds outside the courthouse made it clear where they stood.
Every single day I passed for 3, 4, sometimes 6 blocks, city blocks lined with people holding signs saying burn the witch, death to Amber. After 3.5 weeks, I took
We
the
did see a lot
stand
of that.
and saw just a courtroom packed full of Captain Jack Sparrow fans who were vocal, energized.
Can you put into words how that
A lot of
felt?
cuts in this interview.
This was the most humiliating and horrible thing I've ever been through. I have never felt more removed from my own humanity. I felt less than human.
Let's go back to the day of the verdict. Were you feeling confident?
How could she?
That's a great question.
No, it's not. You have to say no.
I wish I could say yes to that. I want to say yes to you, but it wouldn't be true. Even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't tell me, look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation.
All right, so that's just a repeat. I mean, they're clickbaiting us, right? They're wanting us to watch the same part that we already watched before, unfortunately. But I will say, at least she didn't say yes to that. I'm glad she didn't say yes to that. Okay, you guys want to hate on her? Anything positive I say gets trashed. I get that, but she has to say no based on what she already said. She said, "How could they believe me? How could they find me credible? Johnny had all these paid witnesses. They already loved Johnny after 3.5 weeks." She has to say no, because that's consistent, and at least we need to keep things consistent, so that if you said, "How could they think anything else?" then you couldn't be confident while you were waiting for the verdict. So at least she said that. Yes, this is my first time watching it, Ruth. Yes, this is my first time watching it, so I don't know what's coming.
Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes.
After the 6-week trial, the jury found Heard defamed Depp in a 2018 Washington Post op-ed in which she wrote she was a public figure representing domestic abuse. She never mentioned her ex-husband by name. Depp denied the abuse allegations in court. Heard won just one of 3 claims in her countersuit against her ex-husband. That verdict came less than 2 years after a judge ruled against Depp in a similar case in the UK, in which he sued a British newspaper that called him a wife beater.
There was another trial, handled it dealt with the same substantive issues.
This is, again, right in line with what Elaine said, but Amber says it dealt with the same substantive issues. Let's see if she said we won. Let's see. Because I will tell you, her PR team, they saw Elaine's interviews. They saw all of our reactions to Elaine's interviews. And let's see if they took notes and fixed it before Amber came and gave her interview. Let's see.
Even more evidence in. In fact, my evidence was largely kept out. Really important pieces of evidence kept out. Done differently, handled differently by a judge instead of a jury.
Some evidence is admissible in a UK court that is not admissible in a US court.
Great
Do you
question.
think that maybe he just had
Great
better
question.
lawyers?
I will say his lawyers did certainly a better job of distracting the jury from the real issues.
For some people, they just
Okay, so she asked, do you think he had better lawyers, meaning Johnny Depp? And she said, she nodded her head first off. So that was interesting. And then she said they did a better job of distracting the issues, right? Which is kind of an underhanded or backhanded compliment. But I thought, which is interesting, you guys tell me where your mind went. When the interviewer asked that question, I thought she meant the guy in the UK in the Sun Times. Do you think that he had a better lawyer and that's why he won the UK case and you didn't have a good lawyer here? That's why you lost. That's where my mind initially went. Clearly, she was talking about Amber. Great. Somebody's doing the lawn here. I'll take it inside after this clip. But so very funny that that's where she went, and she said Johnny's lawyers were better at distracting. People are saying, wait for it. I love it. I love it that you know what's coming and I don't.
Just were frankly disgusted by the whole thing and don't have much sympathy for either one of you. Can you understand that?
Absolutely. I would not blame the average person for looking at this and how it's been covered and not think that it is Hollywood brats at their worst. But what people don't understand is it's actually so much bigger than that. This is not only about our First Amendment right to speak.
But here's the thing about the First Amendment.
So I agree with her that people did think this was Hollywood brats arguing, right? That's what a lot of people thought. All right, here, I think a good question.
First Amendment protects free speech. It doesn't protect lies that amount to defamation. And that was the issue in the case.
Yes, exactly. You can't go into the free speech does not protect you if you go into a crowded theater and you scream fire. We get the concept of free speech from the Greeks. My understanding of what that means.
It sounds
is
like
not
Amber's
just
done a little research in case law as to what free speech is and what constitutes free speech. Great question. Perfect question, because the First Amendment does not protect that. It does not protect defamation. But then Amber goes into literally a law school class of that screaming fire in a movie theater is a law school class. It is a prior case that we all talked about. It is how we learn what free speech is, but it is not the only thing it doesn't protect, right? That's what's funny. She doesn't understand how to actually apply that law, and the interviewer seems like she understands it better than Amber.
the freedom to speak. It's a freedom to speak truth to power.
But truth is the word.
Yes.
And that was the issue.
And that's all I spoke. And I spoke it to power, and I paid the price.
The interviewer is giving
closing
her no
arguments, the
room
Depp
to
lawyer
wiggle
said,
at all.
called your testimony the performance of a lifetime and said you were acting. What do you say to that?
Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers. I'm the
What? That's her cut? So we should condemn Johnny. I did not know this. I'm in Nile. So we should condemn Johnny because he played Edward Scissorhands and convinced the world. I don't think anybody actually thought he had scissors for fingers. Did you guys? Let me know in the chat. Did you actually think Johnny Depp had scissors for fingers after watching Edward Scissorhands? Did you actually think that, or did you think it was a movie? I don't like to be sarcastic and making fun of people on YouTube, at least. And in my normal life, I probably am pretty sarcastic. But come on. Like, are you being serious? Not a great answer.
performer. I had listened to weeks of testimony insinuating that, or saying quite directly that, I'm a terrible actress. So I'm a bit confused how I could be both.
The Depp team argued that you were the abuser, that you instigated physical violence. Did you?
I never had to instigate it. I responded.
She is, you guys know, okay? You know, I have been as respectful as I could possibly be, and I will continue to do so. But she's asking, it almost feels like she's asking for it at this point to prove a point, because she says, I listened to everybody say I'm a terrible actress, but now I'm giving an acting performance. Which is it? It's like, well, nobody believed your acting performance on the stand, which is why the jury didn't find you to be credible. So isn't that actually consistent with you being a bad actress? I don't want to say she's a bad actress. I am not an expert on acting. I don't know who's good and bad. I know what movies I like and what people, I like in movies, but I don't pretend. Same thing with singing. Like, I don't know if somebody's a good singer or not. I just know if I like them. But if we're saying if during the trial they're saying you're a bad actress, then you get up and you act on the stand and nobody believes you, doesn't that mean you're bad? I don't. She's literally asking for it. It's like she's walking into this stuff.
To it. When you're living in violence and it becomes becomes normal, as I testified to. You have to adapt.
You say you were responding, but there is evidence. There are tapes in which you acknowledge hitting. There are tapes in which you say, I started the fight.
I know much has been made of these audio tapes. They were first leaked online after being edited. What you would hear in those clips are not evidence of what was happening. It was evidence of a negotiation of how to talk about that with your abuser.
But I am looking at a transcript that says, he says, you start physical fights, and you say, I did start a physical fight. I can't promise you I won't get physical again. I mean, this is in black and white. I understand context. But you're testifying and you're just telling me today, I never started a physical fight. And here you are on tape saying you did.
She sounds like she's cross-examining Amber at this point. Wait, so Amber's answer to admitting that she physically abused Johnny and started physical fights is to say that those tapes were edited? Did we hear that those tapes were edited at trial? Because I mean, we heard that, you know, photos were edited from Johnny's team, but I didn't ever hear that the tapes were edited to say something they didn't say. She admitted that that's what she said. And the context to me is that she admitted it, I thought. I don't know.
As I testified on the stand about this, is that when your life is at risk, not only will you take the blame for things that you shouldn't take the blame for, but when you're in an abusive dynamic, psychologically, emotionally, and physically, you don't have the resources that, say, you or I do, with the luxury of saying, hey, this is black and white, because it's anything but when you're living in it.
But then there are other times, there's another tape where you're taunting.
But even with that, there was no tapes of Johnny saying, yes, I hit you. I'm sorry for starting a physical fight. I might start another physical fight. So even with the darkness, and I agree with her. I mean, it's probably miserable to be in a relationship like this. And from everything I've heard and, you know, experienced through my clients and stuff, it's miserable to be in a relationship like this. So I understand that. I empathize with her for that. That's terrible. But it doesn't change the fact that only she ever admits the physical violence, not Johnny. Right? I think that's the point. I don't think that the jury disregarded her testimony. I think they just lined everything up and they're saying, okay, if we think they're both struggling with stuff and both were not great in this relationship, both kind of verbally abusive, but only she admits the physical violence. And only she is telling us not to believe the pictures and not to believe the recordings. That's what I feel like is happening right now.
Taunting him and saying, oh, tell the world, Johnny Depp, I, a man, the victim of domestic violence.
20-second clips or the transcripts of them are not representative of even the 2 hours or the 3 hours that those clips are excerpt from.
But you still said it. And you said it exactly how we thought you said it as we listened to it. So to say that they were clipped out or that 20 seconds, first off, her lawyers could have put more of it in. She explained it on the stand. She had the opportunity to explain it on the stand, literally. That's why we allow all of this stuff to come in, because you're going to get to explain it. You're going to have your opportunity. Your lawyer is going to be able to explain it in opening and in closing. She's not saying she didn't say these things. She's not even saying that I wasn't saying it sarcastically. She's just saying it was a 20-second clip, clipped out of a longer clip. She's got to have more than that, right? More is coming in this interview, I hope. I don't love that explanation.
Could your side have just put the whole 3 hours in then?
I'm not a lawyer. As I testified to, I was.
Oh, see, that was a clip, which there are a lot of clips and cuts in this interview, but she basically said, couldn't your lawyers have put all 3 hours in? And the answer was, I'm not a lawyer. And I think, not positive, but I think a lot of this recording was kept out by her lawyers and objected to by her lawyers because Jerry Judge was on it and there was other things that were bad for her on it. So they are actually the lawyers that kept it out. And I think this interviewer smirked a little bit because she asked, because I think she knows that if the answer to that was yes, my lawyers could have put all 3 hours in, then why didn't they would be the next answer. And then, oh, well, at that point, I'm not a lawyer, but I know free speech. And I know you can't yell fire in a movie theater. And I know all that, but I don't know why this stuff didn't come in. But I know that this 20-second clip was taken out of context. You can't have it. Usually we say you can't have it both ways. You definitely can't have it 7 different ways. So now I'm starting to think maybe it wasn't a good idea to have Amber Heard go do this interview, but we'll see.
Was talking in those recordings as a person, an extreme amount of emotional, psychological, and physical distress.
He
And
says he never hit you.
He can't.
Never. Is that a lie?
Yes, it is.
What about the witnesses who said they have seen you instigate physical violence?
I've seen firsthand how people will file rank and support the person they depend on.
Did they all come in and lie in court?
I am not here to call any of
But that's what
these
you're saying.
witnesses
It's literally
any
what she's
names.
saying.
I'm here to just kind of talk about it from what it felt like for me as the person who sat there.
When I asked his
Well, that's fine. What it felt like for you as a person. Here's why you can't give those kind of answers in a legal case. You want to talk about what it felt like for you as a person. Well, 7 jurors did the same thing. They talked about what it felt like for them as a person, for those people taking the stand. I don't mean the domestic issues. I don't mean any of the facts of the case. Amber is talking about the testimony of Johnny's witnesses. She basically called them liars, but then wouldn't take that step to call them liars. I think she should have just said yes. I think they all lied. Everybody is saying she lied. They all said the exact opposite of her. Now, everything they said wasn't a lie, but I think she could say, I think each one of them lied about Johnny's abuse. Each one of them lied at least at somewhat for Johnny. I think that's okay for her to say. You guys would crucify her for that, I assume. But I mean, if she's saying, imagine being the person, okay? I'm not saying this is her, but imagine being a person where you know something happened and everybody around you is lying, right? Imagine that happening. That could happen. Wouldn't you call them liars? Because I would. If people said this about me and I knew it was a lie and I'm out here telling the truth, I'm going to call every single one of them a liar. You lied, you lied, you lied, you lied. Every single one of you was there and you lied. Why are you doing this to me? That's what I would say. What I wouldn't say is, well, they're all paid employees. I'm not going to call them liars, but I mean, I know how it felt as a person as I was sitting there. So, I mean, I think she should have just taken the step and called him a liar at this point, right? I mean, I don't know. This makes me find her less credible, right? That's my point. Is I find it still feels to me like she's trying to argue technicalities and like she thinks she's going to trick a jury or something. Like she wants to be nice. She wants to be nice and not call him a liar, but she wants everybody to think that they're lying. Well, which is it? Yeah, she knows they're not liars, mad scientist said. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. This is what it makes me think. This is literally what it makes me think, that they're not actually, she knows they're not actually lying. That's why she doesn't want to call him a liar.
lawyers, why do you think you won? And the answer I got was because she never took responsibility for anything she did in the marriage.
I did do and say horrible, regrettable things throughout my relationship. I behaved in horrible, almost unrecognizable to myself ways. There's so much, I have so much regret. I freely and openly and voluntarily talked about what I did. I talked about the horrible language. I talked about being pushed to the extent where I didn't even know the difference between, right and wrong. I
don't remember her saying that at trial. Pushed to the limits of not knowing right and wrong.
Always continue to feel.
And everything that she admitted, she had an excuse or a qualifier for, right? Well, I did that because of this, or I did that in response to Johnny. I hit him in self-defense. Everything had some kind of qualifier. Johnny, at some point, was just like, I shouldn't have said that stuff, and I did. I shouldn't have done drugs, and I did. I shouldn't have drank so much, and I did.
Like I was a part of this, like I was the other half of this relationship, because I was. And it was ugly and could be very beautiful. It was very, very toxic. We were awful to each other. I made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. But I've always told the truth.
Hurt's lawyers say they plan to appeal that verdict. And as for the notion from Hurt that there was evidence allowed in that UK trial that could have potentially made a difference last week, Depp's attorney said here on Today that the evidence presented in the latest trial far exceeded the UK one, 2 different processes, and they believe the jury got it right. We have a lot more.
All right. More of the interview coming later. So I will just say that last comment doesn't hold a lot of water to me. Like Depp's lawyer saying more evidence came in this case than came in the UK case. It doesn't matter. More evidence doesn't matter. What evidence matters, right? What evidence came in is what matters. Because there could be 100 pieces of evidence that come in, but if the 5 very important pieces don't come in, the fact that those 5 came in can be a reason for appeal. It can give you a successful appeal. So which trial more evidence came in doesn't really make a difference to me. I will say that the lawyers are always going to say the jury got it right when they won, right? So that shouldn't be a surprise to us. But this is very interesting. This interview I thought was much worse for Amber Heard than the 2-minute clip that they popped out where people called me an Amber Heard supporter or a pro Amber Heard person, which is just funny because that just shows that people are looking to pitchfork you. No matter what you say, they are looking to come after you in today's society, in today's day and age. Don't be that kind of person. If you're watching this, please don't be that kind of person. Give people a little bit of grace. Give them the benefit of the doubt, especially if you've watched hundreds of hours of them talking and answering questions like we have done together. Like there are some people in this chat that I know how they think, I feel like. And if they asked a question that made me question that, I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. And I would think about it differently. I wouldn't necessarily be like, they're a horrible person. I would say, oh, I wonder why they see it that way. Because Mo has asked a lot of questions in here. And so if she sees this in a seriously negative light, maybe I need to think about it again or whatever. Don't just say, well, Mo must be on the Amber Heard bandwagon or whatever the topic may be. Don't be that kind of person. Okay. All right. Let's get to some questions. All right. Let's get to some questions. I've got a few minutes here. Pillin Rackus figured it out and is a new member. And Beth, why do this interview over 3 days? My guess is for the most amount of money to be made on the interview. If I had to guess, I wish it would have been one clip. It would have made it a lot easier for the YouTube content creators. But I get it. They got to go get theirs. And if people are going to watch it in all these clips, then more power to them. K-Rab, join. You don't need a laptop. On iPad, open browser. Thank you, K-Rab. This is awesome. Open iPad, open browser. I'm sorry, on iPad, open browser. Either button or join should show up. Don't know about phone is Apple, Google. It's an Apple, Google fight. Thank you, K-Rap. Hilda Apodaca, how many attorneys in your family? 2, just me and my dad. Actually, my dad's uncle is an attorney in Chicago. So I think that's the only other one that's a family member, unless I'm missing somebody. I think that's the only one that's a family member. Beverly Alford, don't worry about the time. Vacation rules apply. Thank you, Bev. You're always there when I need you. Soul Music, thank you for the super sticker. Pillin Rackus, I got the membership to work on my phone. Awesome. Don't know why or how I made it, but it worked. See, I could tell from the prior comment that you did. K-Rab, what she neglects to say is she had at most one fan that stayed up all night to be at the courtroom. She isn't popular. Colleen Fryer. Yeah, it's not like they only let Johnny Depp fans wait outside the courtroom. Anybody could have waited outside the courtroom. Colleen Fryer. What did she expect? She couldn't even cry on the stand. She brought this on herself. She was not believable. Mo, there you are. Absolutely 100% believed it. But then again, I was 5. Fair. That's fair, Mo. Rhea Santos. FYI, Savannah Guthrie is an attorney. I did not know that. I don't know who these people are. When I call them the interviewer, I don't mean any offense to that. I promise you they don't know who I am. I'm not big leaguing them or anything like that. I just don't watch a lot of these shows, so I don't know who a lot of these people are. But if this is true, cool. You could tell. Somebody else said her husband's a lawyer. Danny Corey is a new member. Aaron Jackson. During depots and the trial, Amber Heard testified she was in a bathroom and Johnny Depp was pushing his way in. Audio clips, and JD testified he was in the bathroom and saying she was trying to get in. But no one points this out. Am I going crazy? No. And there was actually a lot of talk in the medical records that she injured her foot, I think, where the door was coming back and they were trying to figure out what was the more credible story. Was she going in? Was she going out? Do bathroom doors usually open in or usually open out? I'm looking at my bathroom door right here in my man cave, and it opens out, just as an example. So I don't know. Does every bathroom door open out? I don't know if that's a construction thing, but I'm not sure. But yes, there was a lot of inconsistencies. Rhonda R. When you stir the poop bowl, you should have to lick the spoon. Gross. Mo. Most of the full audios were admitted into evidence. The jury was able to listen to them in full. But I do know a lot of them were clipped out because of hearsay and things like that, and because things are inadmissible. That's how you have to do it. This is not the only trial this happens in. This literally happens in every trial. Melanie Casio. Sir, trying to watch at work and falling behind. But no, if you were a great actress, you might have won. I don't think she got that one. I agree. Beverly Alford, to the Honorable Judge, Amber Heard, aka the movement, files this appeal on the following findings and conclusions. He said he had scissors for hands, and that is clearly a lie, Your Honor. Therefore, we need to bring perjury charges. It reminds me of the Usual Suspects, Kevin Spacey saying, the greatest trick the devil ever did is convincing the world he didn't exist, or something like that. I could see her using that line in her appeal. R-Dub, she was pushed into saying and doing bad things. It's still not her fault. She needs a training class on how to own her behaviors. Yeah, I agree. Even when she admits it, she doesn't. Cindy Conroy is a new member. Awesome. Tammy Bernstein, did she get paid money for the interviews? I don't know, but she could have. There wouldn't be anything illegal about her getting paid. Industry Raison, I had a question for you the other day, actually. Morning, I'm late again. Maybe you answered this already, but if she continues to lie about JD and lawyers, is she at risk for another trip to court? No. AH says she didn't know the difference between right and wrong. She isn't credible. No, at this point, I don't think any of this is going to be used as defamation. She's commenting on an open Leo case. She's doubling down saying, I told the truth. I don't think it's, maybe that's why she didn't say the witnesses lied. I don't know. But Industry Rajon. So everybody is saying that this is spot on for Amber's diagnosis, borderline personality disorder, what Dr. Curry said about her, things like that. But I'm thinking, as someone who's heard interviews and seen defendants talk about cases after they lose, a lot of them sound like this. So my question is this just how somebody sounds when they lose a court case? Or are a lot of people that get sued suffering from BPD? Or is it just coincidence? I don't know. I just thought about that and I was like, Industry Rajon could probably answer that. And maybe that's a good post for your YouTube page. Wirebird, great analysis. I agree with you. This interview did not do her any favors. Appreciate your input from South Africa. Awesome, Wirebird. Thank you. Carolyn R. is a new member. Precious81, thank you for the super sticker. Industry Rajon. Also, the whole I always tell the truth and everyone else lies just doesn't play well. I agree. I heard they are filing pretrial motions. Is that right? Post-trial motions. Yes. I just did a full video on this for what all those filings meant that they did. So go check it out. It should be posted to our page. I did it live, but it should already be posted to the YouTube page at this point if you want to check that out. I get that I tell the truth and everybody lies. It's a really tough pill to swallow. And usually you're not going to win in court with that. And I tell clients that all the time, but I'm just telling you, me personally, if that happened to me, I would be resolute and stubborn. And I would continue to say they lied. I wouldn't back off. I wouldn't say, I'm not going to call them a liar. I'm sticking to it because I know what I'm saying is the truth. Not saying it's impossible, but it is hard to win in court with that. Absolutely. Almost impossible to win in court with that. Cleo Goodwin, don't be that person is what makes you amazing. Thank you. How long do you think this story will remain in headlines? Honestly, I thought it was over, but people keep sending me stuff. And if you guys want to, that's really the point. Whether or not I'm super interested in a post-trial motion, if you guys are, I'm going to come and explain it to you because it's fun for me to talk about. It's fun for me to talk about certain things more than others, right? Like car accident. We have a Geico video coming out tomorrow, the Deshaun Watson stuff, because I handle a lot of stuff like that for victims. That's really interesting to me. I prefer that stuff. But what's really fun is I just like talking about what you guys like talking about. So as long as that's there, I'm going to do it. So if you guys haven't subscribed already to my channel, hit that subscribe button, get involved in our community on the channel. Let me know in the community pages, hit the bell, what you guys want to talk about. If enough of you want to talk about it, you better believe I'm going to talk about it. And we'll keep talking about Johnny Depp if you guys want to. I am fancy. You talk a lot about your dad. Tell us about your mama. My mom probably had more of an effect on me growing up than my dad, I would say. My dad is a lawyer, a trial lawyer. I am a trial lawyer. I learned a ton. My dad's taught me everything it is to be a lawyer, no doubt. But to be a person, and the person that I am, I would say my mom had a bigger effect than my dad. She was a stay-at-home mom with me every step of the way through everything. My dad and I got a lot closer when I went to law school, and then now. But my mom and I are closer to my dad and I would say. I don't think that'll hurt his feelings. But yeah, my mom and I are, and we're very similar. My mom and I. She's the best. I love my mom. Wouldn't be here without her. The May House. Do you know if post-trial proceedings will be televised? I think so. I know that the cattle calls, and we call them cattle calls, where they just do hearings right back every 30 minutes. Those are not going to be. But if there's something big and there's some big argument, I think it would be televised. We'll see. Nick Neal, if you ever visit Dallas Fort Worth, I'd love to cater for you. IG Chef Nick Neal Du Toit. Follow me on Instagram, Nick at Tragos Law, and shoot me a message with that right here because I have almost gone to either Dallas or Austin or San Antonio multiple times just for like a weekend getaway with my wife, and we just have never made it over there. But I want to do that. Maybe I'll hit kind of multiple cities to make sure I get with you. So hit me up on Instagram because I want to save your info whenever we do that trip. I don't have one planned right now, but if I do, I'll hit you up. Zigzag. I admit I said you were sipping her Kool-Aid yesterday. Was it you, Zigzag? No, not you, Zigzag. My apology. But I got to be honest. I would have never known it was you because I'm pretty sure your name on Twitter was not Zigzag. I would have never known it was you. So the fact that you came out and apologized says a lot to me, about you as a person. So I'm glad you're here. I hope you stay. You're a valued member of the community, and thank you for this. My apologies. Amber, this is how you admit you did something wrong and try to make it right. I mean, be the bigger person. I love you for this, Zigzag. Thank you. Jane, I'm shocked they let Savannah G, and that's also how you don't hold a grudge, guys. Forgiveness and grace, baby. Glad you're here. I'm shocked they let Savannah G interview AH since her hubs was a consult for the JD team. I do remember her saying that when she interviewed their lawyers, but Amber obviously had to agree with it. Maybe they were the highest bidder, as somebody else said. Colleen Fryer, formerly from Clearwater. Thank you for your time and opinions. Do you think this interview harms her chance of appeal? I don't think it's going to affect anything about appeal. I think it harms her in the court of public opinion if she could get lower, but I do think it harms her there. But I don't think that it's going to affect her chances of appeal at all. Amber Scissorhands, nice name. Won't this work against her for appeal? No, I don't think it will. I really don't think it's going to affect her chance of appeal. Blaze Masters is a new member. Blaze Masters is a sweet name. Industry Rajon, good question regarding BPD. Her behaviors are classic BPD. In the context of how clients post-trial behave is comparable with Amber, black and white, all or nothing responses, not necessarily her doubling down on her story. Okay, so some context there. And this is a very lawyerly answer as it depends, kind of is what it sounds like. Oh, Zigzag said it was on YouTube, not Twitter or whatever. Okay, well, I didn't even see your shots, but I appreciate you apologizing and sticking around and still coming to watch the videos and asking questions. I appreciate you for being around here, and so I hope you stick around. So it was on Twitter. I mean, on YouTube, I guess. Some other people were taking shots on Twitter too. Oh, I'm taking strays from everywhere. You know, just roll with them. All right, thank you. I'm going to answer a couple more questions here before we finish, but thank you everybody for joining us for this. This was actually a lot of fun. Somebody saying that other video was a teaser, fine, but what is this? Because they're releasing it in parts. But I appreciate you guys so much. At Tragos Law on Instagram and Twitter, Lawyer on YouTube. Subscribe. A bunch of you are not subscribed, which is cool, but come join, subscribe, hit that bell. Leave me some comments. Let me know how you think Amber did in this interview. How do you think she did? Kristen said, Peter, I think it will affect her appeal in general because Johnny's team is going to explode when they listen to this. Camille will crush her harder. I don't think they need any more motivation, if you want my opinion. The whole interview will be aired on Friday evening, yes, and we will do a full reaction to that as well. So hopefully you guys will watch it here with me. You have a lot of options. So I always appreciate when 9,000 plus of you decide to join me on a random, unscheduled, I almost said Friday, Tuesday morning live. I'm on vacation mode or convention mode. But I'm always just blown away when this many people come to watch it with me. And I agree with Maggie G here. So I appreciate you picking this channel to watch it of. I hope you watch it on a lot of other people's channels as well and support them and ask them questions. But I appreciate it so much when you're here. So thank you for that. And yes, we will be watching the full interview on here as well. Shante said, every time I watch the Captain Jack Sparrow intro, I expect you to bust out in a rap song. This is the tale of Jack Sparrow. Yes. And I am getting, if any of you guys saw that costume, a lot of people asked where I got it. The guy, Anthony, was so amazing that sent it to me, and he's incredibly talented. And so people were asking me if they can get costumes for different things, parties, Halloween, plays. YouTube videos, I am actually going to get a discount code from him where I get some percentage, but it gives you guys a percentage off, which is really cool. I think I get 5% and you get 15% off, I think. Something like that. Don't quote me on those percentages, but I'm going to give you that code eventually because a lot of you asked me about it and it was cool. And I will always play that Captain Jack intro whenever we're talking Johnny Depp. So I'll play it for the Brooks case. I'll play it for anything else we do here post-trial. So, you know, you will see that and it will give you an indication that this is what we're up to. There were a couple more. Jennifer Foley, thank you for this. Industry Rajon, age continuing to pursue JD, whether room to room in interviews or via lawsuits, not being able to let go is also BPD. Very interesting. And I think Dr. Curry said the same thing. All right. I'm going to call it because I'm supposed to leave at 11 o'clock, which is in 9 minutes, and I'm not fully packed yet. So I appreciate all of you doing this with me for a couple hours this morning. It was a lot of fun. Check out our other video on the post-trial motions and appeals and what we learned from that most recent huge block of filings that Amber Heard's team filed with the court. I appreciate you all. Until next time, there will be more videos this week, and I will get with you again when this interview is played in its completion. You guys are the best. I hope you have a great week. Until next time.